When this match is over with, he'll be the one in the 10th frame throwing the last shot.
Tough situation for your first time.
Don't confuse lack of this experience in this type of tournament, though, with lack of ability. This man has shown throughout the entire week, obviously from Scottsdale, Arizona, his family's watching back there, now living here in Reno, Nevada. This young man has shown a great deal of talent this week. He has been very consistent. His lowest match play was 657. So we're talking a young man with a lot of talent.
Yeah, as you can see here, he really mowed some pretty stellar players. Stout competition there. Brian Smith, Scroggins, Stayrook, Ricky Ward.
So how important is it for him to get those first two shots out of the way? I mean, come on. I mean, the guy is, the heart rate is probably like big time.
He's breathing now. You know, during the warm-ups, we have a camera that roves around, and he wanted to get some experience with that. It's a tremendous advantage having bowled on TV as many times Dennis has when you're in this situation.
Dennis looking for his 5th career title. That takes a little bit of pressure off. Now, the left lane has been probably his Achilles heel so far today.
But you know what? I don't think it has as much to do with the lane conditions as it does him just making bad shots on that lane.
Yeah, I agree. Those shots, that Brooks one, that was just a bad shot. That wasn't the lane. But it still hangs in your head. You know, you're on the left lane. All right, I made a bad shot. And you know,
right.
You're not exactly sure what the lane's doing until you're making good, crisp shots.
First shot in the 10th, only leaves the 2-4. I mean, that could have been some ugly stuff.
He has experience winning majors.
Ooh. All right, nice little break. Yeah, Dennis has got a lot of experience winning big money tournaments.
He said he focuses more. He says, you know, he goes, I try to approach it like it's just another tournament. I know it isn't, but I try to approach it like that. But he does focus a little bit more on these big ones. Will that experience pay off? We'll have to find out.
Should be routine 6-pin for Dennis.
And here's the amateur Brett Wolf, just 25 years old. Was part of the club bowling team at Arizona State, graduated with honors with a degree in finance, and if he wins $100,000.
So we see some of the guys that Brett beat. Brian Smith, who's had a real good year. Ricky Ward.
And just stay rook.
Push! Come on! Yes! That pin got hit so hard it didn't know what to do. It was like unconscious. You got to watch this guy's form in his game. He's got a real solid game. In fact, the first time I ever watched him throwing bowling ball was last night. So you see I got to do it the opposite for left-handers. The 4-pin takes the 7-pin out. And watch this reaction. But he's got a great game. I want you to watch his hand roll up the back of the bowling ball, and what that does is it controls the back end part of the lane. If you rotate around the side of the ball, it creates more of a transitional move or more hook in the back end.
He's got a lot of revs, too.
He's got a real nice game.
And the 7 has ears again.
The hometown crowd is going nuts.
Well, the most he's ever won bowling, $6,000. That was at a high roller event in '97.
He won $6,000 2 days ago here.
That's right. Good point.
Now watch the action. The headpin's going to go to the sidewall. His hand's underneath it. Look at that direct line. And here it comes.
And now Dennis Horan struck in the first, spared in the second. And struck in the third.
You know, and I think the reason why Brett Wolf chose to finish on the right lane is because Dennis Horan is locked in on the right lane.
Exactly. Good strategy. Make him finish on his bad lane.
Well, he's made match play. This man hasn't. This man has made match play Masters 10 years in a row. His highest finish was 7th. This is important for this man.
Uh-oh.
It's time to earn double points when you get treated with Juvederm filler and Botox Cosmetic at the same visit. Terms and conditions apply.
Not much action on the pins.
And it looks like early on some pretty good strategy from young Brett Wolf.
Now you heard him say, let go, let go. That means he's snatching on the ball. He's doing something wrong with the start. It doesn't feel good. He's not getting out of the ball clean.
And how much of it is starting to enter into his mind consciously about the fact that he's struggling a little bit on the left lane.
Yeah.
And again, Is it because lane conditions, or is it because of just him mentally? You know, mentally not making the good shots, physically not letting go of it.
He knows.
Cleans it up rather well. Well, as a living tribute to the most prolific champion in PBA history, members of the bowling community have created the Earl Anthony Memorial Scholarship Fund. The fund will provide annual scholarship grants to youth bowlers based on need, academic performance, and community involvement. Now, to contribute to the fund, send your tax-deductible contribution to the Earl Anthony Memorial Scholarship Fund. Here's the address, 5301 South 76th Street, Greendale, Wisconsin, 53129. Very well-worthy cause. Well, Brett Wolf showing absolutely no pressure, and we were spending some time with him last night. We talked about he has a bad knee, he's got a brace on one of his knees, but this man had such a grasp of what he was going to, and you can see him juggling that little ball in the left hand all the time.
That's a rosin bag, but you see his reaction to that last shot he threw, taking advantage of Dennis Horan not doubling, and he's just taking it right to Dennis. I mean, he's just like, hey, let's go, put him up.
Bill and Becky, his mom and dad in Scottsdale, called his parents, said they're going nuts, they're happy, they're proud, they're nervous, all the above. And he does strike again. 4 in a row for young Brett Wolf.
You know, one of the great things about this tournament is the amateurs competing against the pros in a format which allows them, it's all equal. A 3-game match, it's anybody's game. And he did real good this week to get where he's at.
Well, this guy throws it nothing like any amateur. This guy throws it like the pros out here today. The only difference is he's got a great job working at home, but this guy could compete out on the PBA Tour.
Dennis Horan not able to answer it. Now he is facing a difficult situation. Down by 30 pins here in the 5th.
That was not a good time to do that.
Yeah, Brian, it just to me looks like Dennis is really starting to fight his physical game. That's entering into his mental game, you know, what he's thinking, the thoughts going on in his head. And now it looks like he's starting to press a little bit.
Yeah. Now's not the time to be working on your game. Ooh, bounced it out.
Boomer and TJ, I just love watching those guys on NFL Prime Time.
They break it down like nobody else. And Dennis Horan finds himself down by 30.
Had himself a little hole here. Heard him again, Randy. Not making good shots.
He's just grabbing every other shot. He's not making good shots.
Not want to strike like that.
Now the amateur Brett Wolf has put himself into a wonderful position. He leads by 34. $100,000 is on the line for the young man.
Come on! Yes! Yes!
Dennis Horan Jr. in a 34-pin hole. He has bowled through 6 frames, and they are waiting for the check and the trophy presentation that'll come following this match. The Frank K. Baker Trophy and the check for $100,000 to the winner. $50,000 goes to the second-place finisher. And Roger Dalkin, the ABC Executive Director on your left. Tom Michalis, the ABC President on the right. They're standing by with that presentation. But right now, on the lanes, it is Horan Jr. and Brett Wolf, the young amateur.
Those boys dug deep into the bank account this week,
Yes, they did. Largest purse in the history of the ABC Masters.
Only about $350,000 or $60,000.
That's a chunk of change.
Here's a guy that's looking to take home some big cake.
Yeah, baby!
Wow. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's feeling it. Would you agree, Brian?
I think we want him to keep his day job, actually. This guy's good.
Yeah,
this guy is good.
Brett, don't come out on tour anytime soon, okay, pal?
He said if he wins, he just might show up in Vegas. Not quite convinced he should do this full time. He said this is his house. It's easy winning here on these lanes. He said his office is 60 feet long by 5 feet wide, and this is his house.
Interesting note, this being the ABC Masters, he can accept the first place prize fund. If this was a PBA event, he would have to get, he'd have to turn pro to become a PBA member.
Wow.
Smoking.
That's a well-poised man right there.
He's got a great, solid game. He's making great shots. He's got a real good bar action and a good look.
6 straight in the reaction.
That's the eyes of a man with a lot of confidence.
And you know, right now, if Dennis Horan were to strike out, the best he can shoot is .236, and Brett Wolf, the bowler that he has, knows that all he has to do is fill the last 3 frames to win. if Dennis strikes out.
And he's not going to do it.
It didn't really matter much.
Well, it sounds like he's throwing in the towel.
Throwing it in?
Well,
That's not, I don't never give up. Randy.
Yeah, I think maybe a little too early for that.
Too early.
I think it's just residue of just being frustrated with how his game kind of deteriorated towards the end there physically.
You can see the score. The lead is 54 pins now for Brett Wolf.
You know, and you can hear Terry, Dennis's wife at home right now saying, you know what, Dennis, I know you're not real happy about finishing second if you lose, but, you know, 50,000 is really good.
She's still a very happy girl.
Oh, it just hasn't come together.
6, 8, 10.
That.
And I have to ask why. I mean, it's you guys have mentioned about the release from his hands.
Watch how fast this is. That is the fastest 6, 8, 10 I have ever seen in my life.
You know,
you worked hard. Now you're hurt on the job. Your paychecks have stopped and your medical bills are being denied. Do something.
You know, Ron, a lot of people ask why you bowl good and why you bowl. Nobody knows what's going on in your mind. Nobody knows. You know, sometimes it's physical, but, you know, only Dennis really could tell us what's going on in your mind. He might not even fess up.
Hey, you know, I think that's a really good point, Brian. You see the ball going all over the lane. Well, is it the equipment? Is it the lane conditions changing? Is it the guy not making the right adjustments? Or is it just physically he can't get it off his hand? Hey, that's all he wants, man. 9 spare the rest of the game, and he's $100,000 richer.
After 6 in a row.
And my new best friend.
Knuckleball there. That was nice.
Knuckleball.
Little Hoyt Wilhelm there for Brett Wolf.
Yeah, I tell you what.
He has such great slow steps to start out, too.
Not many guys can come out against some of the best players in the world and use a urethane ball and beat us. And that's what this guy's done. But it's this format, which a lot of amateurs love, because, like I say, in a 3-game match, it's anybody's game.
And he's on his way to $100,000. Brett Wolf, originally from Scottsdale and Phoenix area. And he is the winner. The 2002 ABC Masters, an unbelievable story. And to quote the great philosopher Carl Spangler, it's a Cinderella story.
Cinderella story, ex-Kohler salesman, now ABC Master champ. You know what? Listen, though.
He's talking to his dad. He
said,
he said, Papa, I hope you're listening.
Here's the deal, though. You know, the reason why he's using a urethane ball is because he's got so much power and so many revs that if he was throwing a reactive ball, he wouldn't be able to play the line he's playing.
Well, he's plus 500 on his revs, and he's plus 100,000 in his bank account.
And not too many guys can get a urethane ball to hit like that, Brian. I'd have to throw an 18-pound urethane ball to get to hit like that.
And Dennis Horan Jr. will finish things up here in the 10th, but the $100,000 first prize goes to 25-year-old Brett Wolf. He has showed a great deal of composure throughout the week. And here's the surprise champions that had amateur status here at the Masters. Rick Steelsmith did it in '87. Brian Bogosian did it in '99. And add the name of Brett Wolf here in 2002. And you have to keep this in perspective, how remarkable this is for this young man to accomplish this. He beat the best in the world.
Yes, he did. And in a grueling format, a lot of pressure, all that money. But you know what? When I saw him throw it for the first time yesterday, Ron, I was really impressed. You know, I heard the name. I'm like, well, who's this guy? Expecting, you know, to see a guy that's just kind of lucked his way in. But when I saw this kid throw it, I was like, wow, this guy can really play. It's no accident. He's won this.
Keeping it in perspective, 3 weeks ago, he was bowling about 3 to 5 games a week. And 2 weeks ago, he told us last night, he said, I thought I'd better start practicing a little more.
Yeah, exactly. So does the guy have any talent? I mean...
Yeah. Well,
you know,
he once held the ABC record for sanctioned 300 games in a season with 14. That was back in '97. And Dennis Horan finally gets one.
Go ahead, Brian.
As we say, you know, goodbye to Dennis. Certainly the things that we saw him do today wasn't out of fear. He's a champion. He's won big titles before. He was just a little frustrated with his game.
I agree.
Well, he wins in his hometown. Bob Learn Jr. did it in '99, beating our broadcast partner Randy Peterson. He knows what it's like to have the hometown fans behind you. Fitting way to end up He is the winner of the 2002 Masters. Brett Wolf from right here in Reno, Nevada. $100,000 to check, and we'll talk to him right after this.